Welcome to ASOS. So my name is Olivier, and so today, along with Aga and Peng, we're going to talk to you about how we believe that here at ASOS we deliver features faster and with greater confidence. So yeah, sorry guys, this is not going to be your typical Android, technical talk. We could have done dynamic feature. We're doing this here, but Jamie stole the ID, so. We may as well talk to you about this because that's something that every company faces, and that's a problem we all face, and I think we're solving it pretty well here. And also you have to listen to us because you won't get pizza until I'm finished anyway. So we're working on the amazing ASOS app. So we're pretty proud of the app. We have literally millions of users. We have some amazing ratings. We have very little crashes, but most importantly, we release very often. We release once a week, and for instance, last year we released 42 times, and released nearly 80 features. So you're going to say 42 is not exactly once a week, but sometimes we stop for Christmas, and and also we specifically aimed at 42 because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So that was actually on purpose. So yeah, we're pretty proud of all this. But we think we can only do this because of the process we have. And so process didn't come in a day. So historically, it was not always like this. So let's go back in time. Ready? So now we're in 2016. And so the ASOS app was already amazing back then, but we already had teams working on different features all the time and need to deliver even more feature all the time. And the solution back then was to do release train, which is a pretty good idea. If you release once a month and you have a release train and whatever's ready at this point in time gets out. So when the time comes every month, you kind of freeze the code you have, you spawn a release branch, and then you play with it, and then you try to stabilize it, and you do regression testing, and then you can release. And back then we had a fair amount of unit tests to help us, but we had no UI tests. Actually, I say we have no UI tests, we had some UI tests, but they were running somewhere on a server that nobody was looking at, and so it's like having no UI tests, right? So it was not too bad, but there was a few problems with this. So problem is, you may think, releasing once a month is not too bad, but when you release only once a month, then everyone wants their feature released that month. Nobody wants to wait an extra month to release their thing, and so you end up frustrating your managers, or you end up releasing something that is not ready and frustrating your users, which is bad. So also then, as I said, once a month we spawn a feature release branch, and then you do regression on it, you test everything to make sure it's okay, and then that takes a lot of time. And when you spend a lot of time testing the app, then you find a lot of bugs, and especially when you test a month worth of work. And then you need to fix the problem you found, and it delays the release. And this impacts everyone. This takes most of the time of all your QAs to test the release branch, and then all the devs needs to stop and fix the urgent problems before we can release, and that takes time for everyone. So what did we do about this? So solution is simple. It's just to use continuous integration, continuous delivery. It's fine. It should work. Everyone does this, so it should be solved already. But the thing is with continuous integration, continuous delivery is that you actually have to mean it. It's like Agile. Agile. Everyone does Agile. Everyone has a CI server, but you actually have to use it what it's meant for. So you have to take the C out of it, which is continuous, and actually do that. You use it continuously, test, continuously deliver, and do it consistently, and actually mean it. So how just doing this, how just continuous testing and delivering our app fix our problems? So let's go back to the problems we had. So at first point I said, that no one wants to wait for months to release their feature, and we end up having problems. So how could you solve that? Simple. We just release more often, so we change to releasing every month to releasing every week. So that sounds a bit too simple, because actually you can't switch from releasing once a month to directly releasing once a week without problem, because if you remember, there were other problems in my list, and we need to fix these other problems before we can do that. But the idea is that the aim is we want to do that. So we need to solve the other problem, is that regression takes time. If we release every week and regression takes a lot of time, then how do we go about that? Well, solution is to automate, to have a lot more tests, and more importantly, run them continuously, run them all the time. You know, as you remember what I said before with these all UI tests we have, and they were running sometime and we didn't know. They need to be part of your process. You need to run them continuously. That's, you know. And yeah, today we have more than 10,000 unit tests, and we have about 1,500 UI tests, which are running on mocked network. And we have 30 end-to-end to test flows, specific flows in the app. So yeah, we bumped up our test number, which now makes us really confident that the app works fine. So the other problem that I said is that yeah, you do all these tests, but then you find bugs, and then but most importantly, the problem we had with the monthly release is that we were spawning a release branch, and we had a lot of surprise in that branch. You know, once a month you cut the branch, and then you start testing in, and then you realize, oh, actually there's these bugs we didn't think of, and there's even this feature that is here that we didn't think was here, and we don't want to release right now. So there's several ways to go about fixing it. So to not get any surprise feature-wise, is to use feature flags and to use A/B testing. So we use both feature flag and A/B testing, sometimes in combination with each other, to actually make sure our users only see what we want them to see. So, and it allows us to release features sooner. So as soon as they're ready and they're tested, we can release them. But our user will only see the feature once we want them to see it. So we decouple that. We decouple the technical part of doing the feature to the marketing part of when we do it. Also, something that is key to not have any surprise in terms of bugs, like not find anything, because before we had the problem once a month where we were cutting that branch and very often it was not very stable, we had to stabilize it. So the key is if the main branch we work on is always stable, then there's no problem. If it's always 99% stable, then we can release any time, which is the goal. So how do we do this? We did this by making sure that nothing goes to our main branch. Our main branch is called develop, so you're going to hear about develop a lot today. When we say develop, it means our main branch. So nothing goes into develop unless it's tested, and not just with a unit test and UI test, but also by QA who test the feature first in the developers branch, and once they're happy, only they merge to develop, and only them are allowed to merge to develop. So we're not allowed as dev to merge, so nothing goes in unless a QA is happy. And they're hard to please, our QAs. Look at that guy. So the key is that our develop branch must stay green at all times. So you must be stable at all time. So we even have things in the office, like we used to have these screens, but they're gone down, but now we use Slack, as you can see. That tells everyone whether develop is green or red. And so everyone is aware at any point in time, either through Slack or through monitoring, that the state of develop. And we even have rotas to make sure that it's a first priority if develop is not green, to fix it and to make it green, so that our main branch is always stable, and that's the key to releasing often. So last problem on my list was that all teams were impacted. Once a month we had to break the flow of work that we usually have and stop everything for QAs to do regression and for devs to fix the last minute bugs or finish a release quickly so that it doesn't wait a month. So what's the fix for that? Actually, the fix of that is everything we just said. So if you test continuously, and if your main branch is always stable, then releasing comes nearly for free, and you do it very often. You only have 1 week worth of things to test, and it's already been testing many times automatically, and everything that went in has already been tested manually as well. Then the team can focus on what they like doing and what they're good at, and all the release nightmare is just automated and done by robots, which is good. So that's the general gist of it. So now how do we do it actually? So we're going to see how we do it in dev point of view and QA point of view, and the amazing Peng is going to start.
Okay. Thank you, Olivier. And I will talk from the dev point of view to talk about how we deliver and maintain our developer green. So from the Android team, our main objective is to provide better user experience to our customers. So we want to deliver better or new features to the customer as soon as possible. So dev is just simple, it's just implement the feature. QA is test the feature. And we released feature together, right? So it's simple and easy. And we want to make our life easier so everyone can be simplified. So we get some robot to help us to do some tasks to make our life easier. So the robot I mentioned here is not really physical robot. It's the tools we are using. So I think these tools you already recognize the icons, so probably you use it every day. So we use it every day, so we want to make the connection between JS much simpler. And how can we make it? This is our connection now. It's a simplified way. It's a really connection is much complex than this one. So we are using the webhook, the REST API, the bot to connection to each other, so they can automatically a lot of tasks. So let me show you what's a typical daily task from the dev point of view. So as a dev, the task is simple. You pick up a feature and implement them and review others' features, simple, easy. But when you think about your daily task, is a lot of work you need to do between these tools, the Jira, GitHub, and your IDE, the Android Studio most using. So what you will do, you pick up a tickets, Jira tickets, get the latest developer, branch out, put in progress, and start to implement them, right? Let's implement the code. Then you need to create a PR, put in review, request some other people to review your code. It's tricky here. And review other people's code, building an APK. The APK, normally you want to try to test this branch merging to developer, not that branch. So you need to merge developer to that branch. It's a lot of work. And once everything is done, you want notify the QAs to ready to test. You need to put them in ready to test. A lot of work here, right? But we really want you to focus on this, to focus on the Android Studio, the most tools you are using. So what we do here, we have some robot to help us. Once you branch out or push the branch with the ticket name, we will automatically do the work is assign the tickets to you and put in progress. That means we know you start branch, so it's working start. You still need to implement them. Robot cannot do the work now, but maybe in the future. And once you implement them, you create PR. Since you create PR, we do a lot of work here. We put in review, request the reviewer to review your PR, and building the test APK. So here the tricky part is we are building the APK is the merging branch, is merging the latest developer to your branch and building that. So we can make sure you have the latest state for the developers. And then you review your other people's code. Once you finish, you put the QA merge label in the GitHub. This will automatically trigger the Jira progress is put ready to test. So you don't need to do all this stuff. And of course, we don't want you to receive all emails to update the state. So we have the Slack integration. So all the state you have, you will notify it. For example, you are requested to review a PR. Your PR is approved, request change. And the final state is when your branch is merged. So it's pretty easy. So you don't need to swap to the GitHub page or the email chain. Because before your PR is merging to developer, this is the most important part. We need to guarantee you don't break developer and don't have any regression tests. We have done a lot of tests or the script to help us to maintain this one. So why I put say script here, because you can definitely build in a task like TeamCity we are using, but we want to make a script because you can easily to moving around from one CI to another CI. So it's easily to maintain, so everyone can update this one, and even you can run it locally. So in the script, we have to check your commit message, and check the label on your PRs, and run style check, lint check. Because we support dark mode, so we also have a dark mode check to check, make sure you don't break in the dark mode, or you don't implement the dark mode requirement for your features. So that's pretty cool. And once you finish all these tests, we go to next step to run all the unit tests and building the debug APK. So once we finish this one, we'll send the reviewers to review your PR. So that means you are your branch is in the review state, so it's good. At the same time, we also do some other checking to label the PRs to see it's big, small, and all other checkings. And also, we block the merge, so once the QA and reviewers finish the reviews, no one can merge your PR to developer. So that makes our developer much safer. So after all this done, we will be, the QA can start to test them. So I will pass into our QA. I got to do this talk.
So hi, I'm Aga, and I will take you through the daily task of a QA and basically how our process works. So if you think about the jobs of the QA when everything is prepared, so the tickets are ready for development, so with the assumption that all the preparation like writing ACs or grooming sessions are done, then we can split the task of the QA into testing, writing UI tests, and reviewing UI test PRs. So for writing UI tests, we usually have a separate ticket that can be picked either by a developer or a QA. We both care about the quality, so we can share that responsibility. However, the process of writing UI tests is exactly the same in terms of the steps that need to be performed, like the process of implementing the feature. So the automated tasks that are helping us here are exactly the same as Peng already described. It's similar with reviewing UI test PRs. So this process is also very similar in steps, like reviewing any other PR, and again, the automation there is the same. So now I will take you through the process of testing and how the robots are helping us there. First of all, we're gonna pick up the ticket, obviously, and move it in Jira into test, and it's gonna be automatically assigned to us. Then we will need to test the feature, but before we do so, we're gonna review the unit tests and UI tests, if any have been written. We usually try to speak with dev and push as many unit tests as possible, as many tests as possible into unit test level. So then we just create a bare minimum of UI tests, because obviously we want to limit those. When this is done, we can start running our regression tests. Currently, we have almost 1,500 mocked UI tests, and this is quite a lot to run on every PR. That's why we decided to just run a subset of those tests. We do that using test stacks, and this allows us to basically pick a selection of tests that are very specific, so they are relevant for particular PR. And we could also use the packages. However, this one is a bit limited solution because you can just run one package at a time. When we run all our tests, then we can start manual testing because the regression will be done for us with the automation. The APK is already built for the manual tests, so it's just a few seconds and you can start. On a daily basis, there are other tools like command line or Postman that are helping us just to generate data or run a quick script. When we finally finish our checks and we are sure that everything is fine and we finished our testing, we can think about merging our PR. Before we do so, we need to make sure that all the checks has passed. And then, again, we've got automated checks that are helping us here. So any tests that have been running are the statuses of those checks are reported into GitHub, And then we have rules that are blocking us from merging before everything is green. But finally, when everything is green, we can merge, happy days, we move to done, ticket is closed. And we can go for a coffee while the agent, or our robot, as we call it, is still working. So first of all, the robot will notify the owner of the PR that the ticket has been merged. But most importantly, it will run our tests, and it will start with the essential tests. These tests are, again, a subset of our mocked UI tests, and they are covering major areas of the app. It's around 200 tests, and they are trying to touch every screen of the app, so we are pretty sure that everything is fine. Then also all our unit tests are running, and when all these tests, so UI and unit tests pass, then the dev release APK is built and uploaded to App Center, which is the tool that we use for internal distribution. Along with those, the sneak task, which is the security check, will be run as well when we merge the PR. So these are all the tasks that our robots are performing for us, but not the only tasks that they do. So there are also other things automated during the week that we don't need to act on, and they are just done by our robots. So first of all, every day in the morning, the content validation checks are running, and these tests are checking if the content provided by the live API to 12 major stores that we support is valid, and we basically display everything to the user. These tests results of those tests are reported into the Slack channel, so we get immediately notified and we can act on it by letting know the appropriate team. Another task that our robot is running are all our mocked UI tests. So as I mentioned before, we usually don't run all our tests on each PR. However, we still want to make sure that develop is green. That's why we still want to run all those tests, so 1,500 tests. Every lunchtime and overnight 3 times to avoid the flakiness or detect it easier. We run all of them, and basically, these are helping us keep develop green and monitor it. Again, the results of those tests will be reported into Slack channels so we can see whenever the failure happens. Another task is running our end-to-end tests. We've got 30 end-to-end tests. They are covering major journeys of the app and are running against our live environment. We also have some payments tests, and these are running against the test environment. Another task that we have is translation script checked. So basically, this task is checking if the translation tool has any changes, and if there are any, the task will automatically create a PR for us to be up to date, and this one is running twice a week. So all these tasks are helping us a lot in terms of speeding up our process and basically doing job for us. All of them are running in our CI, and that's why I want to quickly show you our CI setup and how basically we split the work. So in our CI, which is basically in Team City, we have several agents that are responsible for executing our tests. And we have 2 types of agents. First type are the physical agents. And these are responsible for running our UI tests. That's why all of them have at least 6 Android devices plugged in. So all our mocked UI tests and all end-to-end tests will be running on those agents. We also have the second type of the agent, which are the cloud agents. And these agents are responsible for any other job that we have that will be running our unit tests, building APKs, or running any other script that we scheduled. This setup is pretty good. We are happy with it. We don't have issues. It's making our process quite smooth. However, it wasn't always like this. So before, we used a poor Mac Mini and few devices. And we have on that Mac Mini Jenkins that we had to maintain ourselves. And all our tasks have to run on that one master Jenkins. So at the time we had around 700 tests, but they were running for almost 3 hours, so that was ages. We also ran all our unit tester and any script that we had. And that caused us a lot of issues. So we had long queues in the pipeline, our UI tests have been a bottleneck, and because of that, we released a lot slower. So we started looking for a solution, and we found out that we can move easily into TeamCity, that we have a dedicated team in ASOS, so that will be already a release for us. So we got as well 10 more agents. And thanks to this, we could split our work between the two types of the agents, and our CI was already a lot smoother. And then we continued changing. We upgraded Mac Mini to iMac. We got more devices and more iMacs, and this is how we got into the current setup. But basically, that all helped us again to make the process smoother. This was not the only transition that we went through. Another one was changing the UI test library. So in the past, we were using Fork. We picked Fork because we were looking for something that will allow us to basically shard our tests. And Fork was fulfilling that. It had a nice reporting. It was easy to set up. However, we found it less flexible when we tried to implement the test tags that I mentioned before that we use for selecting some tests. So we implemented test tags on the fork. However, it made it even more slower. So we thought this is not an ideal solution. So we looked for something else, and we found Spoon. And it's actually a mother of Fork, because Fork was forked out of Spoon. So basically, Spoon have all the functionality that we were looking for, because in the past it didn't have test sharding, now it has, so we could use it. And then it has all the reporting that we need. We found it more flexible, we easily implemented test tags, and it appeared to be faster. So everything, all the changes that we did, increased a lot our CI speed. And just to show you quickly some numbers, so now we have 1,500 mock UI tests, and they are running in around 2 hours. And in the past, we had only 700, but they were running almost 3 hours. And currently, we also have essential tests. And in this run, we run 200 mock UI tests, we run all our unit tests, as well as we build the APK, and it's taking only 40 minutes. But in the past, we didn't have anything like that. We had to run all our tests all again every time. Currently, we also have the test tags that we are so happy with, and we can easily select a subset of tests. In the past, we could only use the packages, which is quite limiting. So we learned a lesson that basically it's better to search for tools rather than get too much attached to the ones that are already in place. So just, yeah, we recommend that definitely. Now I will just show you quickly how our tests are running in our CI, and the Peng will take you through the details of the UI tests.
Hello, and this is the video we just took recently from one of our agents. So you can see it's run smoothly, and we have 3 of the iMac to run in them, so it's pretty fast to run all our UI tests. So we talk a lot about our UI tests because we think it's really useful for us to maintain our code quality. We can do a lot of big refactoring, and with that to think breaking our tests. And in Paris, we also have one of our colleagues to talk about the UI tests in one of the lectures several years ago. So we want to show you how our UI tests, why we want to talk about the UI tests. So first, we want to make sure our UI test is easy to write, because people will think, oh, it takes time to write UI test. But let me show you one example we have here. This is just one of the test code we start writing. It's simple. We just want to open a wallet screen in our checkout. So first, we mock the API request. So once you set up, the one is there. And then we set up user's start point is in checkout. User on the checkout screen, you click the payment method. Then user should see the wallet screen. That's pretty easy. Because we have a lot of tracking in our app, So we want to make sure we don't broken this one because it's really tricky to test them. And also because the analytics will be tracking not just one screen, they will tracking several screens like user flow. And then we can also test that part, so it's easy to read. And also I would say easy to understanding. So I think if you can read screen, right? So even you don't understand ASOS app, when you read this part of test, you know it's open wallet and then checking the tracking event. And because it's really easy to read, you want to check in some analytics state, you don't need to go to open your app. You can just go to the code to check in. Oh, what's the tracking state for this screen? So it is easy to read. And also we want to make sure it's easy to run. Why easy to run is important? Because you want fast feedback, and you only want to check in the code you are checking affect area, not everything. So that's why we mentioned several times in the slides is we want to run your test by features. How do we define feature? So we call it tag. So for each user feature, we define tag is in a class. So you just define feature like address book test or after pay test is our new payment system. Once you define one feature, you set up a tag. So it's pretty easy for you to write your tests, you set up them. So you can set up several ways. You can set up in your class, so your whole class is a address test, or you can set up for each method, so it's like function test for that test. And also you can set up multiple tags for the test. So that means you are testing multiple features, for example, analytics, insertion, or address test. So it's pretty easy to set up. And how do you select the tag to run? We show this screen several times in the slide. So it's like in our team city ranking. You can select tag and then just press run. It's run the test you are doing. But how do we do that? We filter the tag. That's why we're moving from fork to spoon, because we have the capability to set up a filter in the test to filter out the test. Because in the fork, it's not really filtered, they just checking, do you have the one or not? It's still need to go through all the tests. But in the spoon, they are using the instrument filter. So they just filter out. You not even touch the not set up the tag you try to running. So it's pretty easy. So we can make sure all our tests is easy to run. And I will pass it to Olivier to show you what happens once a week for the release.
Yeah. Hello again. My name is still Olivier. So now that we went through in details of what happens every day that makes the process continuous and that makes all the tests happen all the time, then we should come back to the original problem. Then how do releases go now? How is it easy to release? And so releases happen once a week right now, but they could happen every other day for that matter. It would be the same for us. So what happens on a release day? So remember we said the team before were really impacted by releases, and it was very painful for the team. It was impacted everyone. So now the team, all they have to do is they have to choose the release captain. And the release captain will be one person in the team in charge of making sure the release goes smooth. So that's our captain here. So actually, no, that would be silly. Our captain don't look like this, they look like that. So yeah, we force people to actually wear a captain, or they can't. So we pick from one of these lovely people. And they're the release captain, and their role is just to follow the release checklist and to make sure that everything happens smoothly. So all they do is they basically start a few scripts, because again, you don't want the captain to do stuff, Don't know you've seen our captains, they're not that bright. You want the robot to do the thing, because the robot is a smart one. And the robot is actually everything. The captain only guides the robot. The captain just says, okay, that's the latest green develop. Again, we always have a green develop that run, so we know the latest stable version of a build. That's just the starting point for then start everything on RCI. And so RCI then build the release branch, run all the tests, run all the end-to-end tests as well, and then build the release candidate build that the captains upload to the Play Store. And then the Play Store also, so when you upload to the Play Store to an internal track or a beta track, or the Play Store will run a set of tests, which are the print report. So Google run all these tests for you, and it visits every screen in your app. It's not really a monkey test because it does way more. It goes to every screen, and you can provide a username and password, and it will log in for you, and it will try many devices, many versions, many language, and it will send you details, videos of everything that happened and every problem they found in terms of anything, crashes, accessibility, anything they can find. And that's very useful. You can see also that the last yellow square here is that the robots also generate a list of impacted stories. So basically, from the diff of commits between last release and today's release, it gives us a list of tickets that have been impacted in Jira. And with this, we start what we call the bug bash and the triage. So there, the team will be impacted a little bit. So the team will spend to be highly impacted by that by just being impacted half an hour a week where they do the bug bash. So what's the bug bash is the captain. We have a Slack channel where the captain organize what we call the bug bash. He takes that list of stories impacted that the robot gave us, and from that we get a list of impacted features, and everyone in the team just spend half an hour trying everything from that list, trying every feature, trying everything they can on the app, using different. So we give away devices. So people test on a tablet, people test on an old device. I would test in French, and people would test in Spanish and German, whatever. And so we try a lot of random things that we can think of to give it a last minute, last pass. Even after all the tests we've run, all the automated one up, and all what the queue have done, it's the last chance to catch anything for half an hour. It also we also like this because it also gives everyone in the team an opportunity to see feature they may not have worked on. So if you worked on another feature during the bug bash, you can try the feature you've not written and discover things and see it with a fresh eye, and sometimes find even some usability issues that then you can report. And then once you report it, the bug bash is go hand in hand with the triage, and the triage is just at the end of this half hour. We just look at the bug that we found, and we just decide basically, okay, do we need to fix any of this before the release, or can they wait another week? It's just another week. So usually it can wait another week, and if it can't, first of all, it's very rare, and if it happens, it's fast enough because it's only one bug on the one week worth of work, and it's easy to fix. Then the captain tag the release to Play Store. So basically, all they do in the Play Store is promote the internal build that we've tested on to beta, and we know already that build is correct because that's the one we've been testing. And then all we have to do is to monitor. So again, one of the things that the robot produces is the links for us to monitor in Slack and Fabric to make sure we monitor the right version. And the captain is mainly monitoring, but the whole team is involved in also checking everything is fine with the app when we released. So we have many tools to check that. So we of course have Fabric for the crashes, but we have New Relic for the network, but we also monitor the social media. We monitor Twitter a lot. We monitor also the email from the app you can contact us. So we monitor all this, and we try to be very reactive to this. We try to listen to our users. As soon as we see someone complaining, we try to fix it. If we see that is something that is to do with what we just released, we try to be very reactive. So what happens to the old, the old release? Once a month. It was because sometimes, marketing-wise, it was nice to release once a month and to announce a set of feature that we release. Okay, this month, because all we release so far is mainly beta release. So every week we release beta. We release to beta, but sometimes we release to prod, and we to do some marketing about what we release. So what happens to that? Well, they still exist, but now it's completely decoupled from what we do. For the technical team, it's nothing more than just going to the Play Store when someone tells us, okay, now today we want to release to everyone. We just go there and we click we promote the beta to production. But the fact that we have this big bang release is the same for us. We release every week anyway, and we have this feature flag that we can turn on and off when we asked, and click this button. But for us, it takes 2 minutes. There's no fear of releasing every month like we used to. And that's it. So the title of the talk was how we could release faster and with greater confidence. So how does all this help us do this? So a few lesson learned for this. For the confidence, obviously the tests. The more tests we have, the more confident we feel about our release. Also knowing in control what we release. So again, keeping the branch stable and having the feature flag, that helps a lot. And also you need confidence not only on your code, but you need confidence in your tests, because the tests are pointless if you cannot trust the test. If the tests are flaky, then you stop trusting them and then they become meaningless. So you really have to trust your tests. So we make sure the tests are not flaky. We try our best for them not to be flaky. So most of the tests, the network is mocked, and as Peng showed, and but also even the tests are not, or even anything can happen during that. We run the test. That's why we run the test several times a night to make sure that if at some point some random event happened that stopped the test, then we run it again to make sure we have every morning we sure we have a clear state. And in terms of speed, what makes us faster? Well, all the automation we do make things faster, and we try to automate even more. Sharding the tests, obviously, as these guys said. And actually, and tagging to run only the right test at the right time. And also actually changing machine for more powerful machine. The bottleneck is not the device you plug in, the bottleneck is actually the machine. If you have a faster machine, even if you have the same number of devices, it will definitely run faster. So what could we improve? Again, all of these are basically just automate even more. So basically, there's a few manual tasks in all the process I described. For instance, the captain still has to upload the app to Play Store when the Play Store has APIs to do that. Actually, I think Peng has a PR that fixes this already, so we should soon be able to cross that one out. Again, the integration between Jira and between all our different tools. Sometimes there's still one manual step that we want to avoid. So basically, we want to automate even more, and that's the goal. We're already working on it, because we found out that the more we automate, the easiest it is for us. And also we need to make sure, we're trying to do this already, and Aga mentioned it, but we want to make sure we have a right speed between UI and unit tests. So we have a lot of unit tests, but we also have a lot of UI tests, and we want to make sure we only have the UI test that we need. We don't need to test all error cases. Sometimes on a UI test, we just need to test that the error message is wired, and all the different possible errors, that's more unit testing. So we need to make sure we keep focusing on that balance and make sure it doesn't go off. And that's about it for us. Thank you.